Yo, what is going on, guys? Episode 81 of many. I'm sorry for any of you who are actually watching this on YouTube. You've probably seen me with a really shitty beard the last month due to No Shave November, and now I'm messing around and I only have a mustache. So if you are watching this on YouTube, hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I'm not much of a facial hair guy, but I like to have fun with it sometimes. So something that I didn't talk about much, I don't think, was my Thanksgiving update, and I totally forgot to do that because I feel like you guys will find it interesting. So for those of you listening, those of you that have been listening for for the foreseeable past, if that's how you say that, any of you have listened and know what kind of diet I'm on. I primarily eat meat and eggs. I'm very high protein, high fat, very low, if basically no carbs on a day-to-day basis. I make sure I keep my sodium and electrolytes high. It is called the carnivore diet. It's a more extreme version of keto. So anyways, I don't need to dive into that. If you've heard me talk about it, that's just a quick recap. So Thanksgiving, I want to run you through the day, what I did, and I think you guys would be surprised. So I think I told you a little bit. I was doing the Turkey Trot. I've been training for the 5-mile race. We did it in Oshkosh. For anybody here in Wisconsin, obviously Thursday was a very cold and windy day. So my mom, my brother, my sister, and I, we all went and did the 5-mile Turkey Trot. And yeah, it was cold out for sure. It was very windy. I have not ran 5 miles at one time yet. I had only run like 4 to 4.2 or something like that. So the race was very good. My goal, I had 2 goals. Really, my first goal was run the entire thing without stopping, no walk or whatever. I would say I accomplished that. There was a water station at like mile 2 or 3 or something, and my sister and I grabbed a quick cup and slammed it and then threw it in the garbage can. So I run the entire 5 miles without stopping, and then my other goal wasn't like I needed to hit it, but I was like, in the back of my head, I was like, that would be pretty cool, would be to just stay under that 10-minute mile mark. So when I first started running and I was talking to my mom about doing this, I was like, what do you think we're going to run this in? Like 60, 65 minutes, like that's kind of what I was thinking. And I ended up coming in at like 48:30 or something. I don't know. You could look it up if you really want to see on Festival or whatever for Turkey Trot in Oshkosh. But anyways, I was super proud, super happy. I was very surprised that I kept that pace, even though with how windy and how gusty it was. And also, I haven't really ran in cold temperatures like that along with the wind. So for those of you who do run or get outside like that, when it's that cold and that windy and it's hitting you in a certain kind of way, especially when you're like up on the bridge crossing the water, it's just harder to breathe. Like it's harder to get a deep, when you get involved in running, your goal is to be breathing through your nose, which is already a hard enough thing for a lot of people. So I really focus on nasal breathing. And when that wind would hit me just right, and it was so cold, and again, just trying to get a good deep inhale in was tough. So anyway, super, super happy that went well. Afterwards, me and the family went out. We got a Bloody Mary and some breakfast as a little celebration. And anyways, we're going to get to the good part. So Thanksgiving, I decided this year that I am going to eat the food. I'm not going to like eat a whole plate of mashed potatoes or a whole plate of, corn or whatever. But last year during Thanksgiving, I only ate the turkey and the meatloaf, even though the meatloaf wasn't super along with my diet with just kind of like the additives in there. I stuck to primarily meat and, protein and fats. So this year I decided, I'm going to have, a couple spoonfuls of corn. I'm going to have the cheesy mashed potatoes, the sweet potatoes, the meatloaf, and I just ate an entire plate of this. And I feel like you guys will find that surprising because I'm like, literally I eat no carbs. The only time I have a carb is if like I've had a couple beers and I grab like a couple pretzels and that. So when I do drink beer, obviously there's carbs there. If I drink a Bloody Mary, there's carbs there. And then obviously if I eat any of the foods when I'm drinking, that would also be some carbs. But I do generally a pretty good job of not doing that. So anyways, I ate a bunch of carbs for Thanksgiving. It was great. Tasted great. Everything tasted just how I remembered it. It was a good time. The next day was when you shift from eating only protein and fats, and I found this out the next day, when you do a big carb load like that, you can have some gut irritations with that. You can, feel a little gassy, essentially, just like an upset stomach. The food was great, but like that next morning, I was just like, what did I do? Basically, I'm not trying to get nasty with you. I'm not like I was anyways, so just some gas and bloating essentially from eating some of the carbs. I was doing research with ChatGPT and Grok, and that's kind of why I allowed myself to do this. I was in a deep enough calorie deficit throughout the week with my fasting routine, with my workout routines, that even if I ate those carbs, my body wasn't going to do a sudden shift into burning or into storing this food as fat. So the problem with my diet is if I go from eating protein and fat and then I go back to like a normal American diet where I'm eating 3-4 times a day and I'm eating not the best food, my body's more likely to start storing that. Like we're shifting from like ketosis to like a normal diet again, and my body's going to start storing all of that fat that I'm actually eating and those carbs as body fat essentially, right? So I'm not going to get into the science of that, but that's the biggest concern with eating carbs on my diet. So I did some research. We did a big carb load. I ate for Thanksgiving. The next day, my workout was phenomenal, and that's what it kept telling me it was going to be. So like how I did an arm day the next day, and like just doing curls and triceps, and my arms just, not only did they look great with like, vascularity, but the pump feeling, like I just felt like I had so much blood going into my arms and they felt like they were like basically ripping the skin. I haven't had that feeling in a while. So that much glycogen in the muscle, it was just a really great feeling. So depleting myself of carbs for a very long time, doing a carb load, and then hitting a great workout the next day, it was a crazy feeling. So anyways, I thought you guys would enjoy that. I did eat some carbs. I'm a normal human. It was a good time, and it was all good food. So I want to give you guys some new things that I'm trying, and then I'm going to follow up with a couple other items. My goal for today's episode was to dive into that book that I've been reading. I have not finished it yet. My goal was to finish it. Today is Tuesday. I'm recording this episode on Tuesday. It's going to release on Thursday. So I've only got a couple chapters left. So by the time Thursday comes here, I'll actually probably have finished this book. But I'm going to give you guys some details on the first half of the book. But before I get there, some new things that I'm personally trying. I'm trying to get my collagen intake up. So I have what's called, I believe, vital peptides or vital collagen peptides or whatever off of Amazon. It's a 3 tablespoon serving. I do 1 tablespoon of that. I do 1 scoop of my Redmond Relight mixed berry into my 32-ounce water, and that's what I drink. And so every time I've been, for the last couple days, so I'm just telling you guys some new stuff I'm trying. For the last couple days, every time I refill that 32-ounce water, I will do 1 scoop of the collagen, 1 scoop of that, and the collagen's unflavored. And I'm just trying to get my collagen intake up. I'm trying to just see how that makes my body feel, my tendons, my joints, I've got pretty strong nails, so that's not why I'm doing it. I'm not here for the hair, skin, nails effect like most people. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing there. My running plan and my lifting plan I have a note here for. So my new running plan, I am going Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturdays. My Mondays is an easy run. For those of you who have me on Snapchat, hopefully you guys saw that very funny picture on Monday. If you guys joined our email list, or if you want to join that email list, we just sent an email out today, Tuesday, but I know you're listening to this Thursday. We just sent out a really cool picture of me and G. We actually went for a run Monday morning this week, and our eyebrows and our mustache, like everything was just all frosted up. It was a super, super funny thing. So anyways, Monday is our easy run day, just a very slow-ish pace for that 3 to 4 miles mark. So G and I went for 4 miles, and we had like an 11 or 11:30 pace. So just a nice jog out there. Then Wednesdays, we have another run day where we do an easy mile, and then the second, I'm not going to tell you all the specifics, but like the second mile, we do some additional stride work, and then like mile 4 is an easy jog again. So miles 2 and 3 are like we're striding it out for like 30 seconds, just kind of not sprinting, but exerting a little bit more energy. Friday is interval day, so we'll do more like run walks or sprint jogs. And then Saturday is going to be our long run day. So Saturday will be the day that we push our limits a little bit more. So for instance, this Saturday, I'll probably be pushing for another 5-mile run for the next 2 weeks. And then weeks 3 and 4, my goal is by the end of the year or like right into the new year that I do one longer run between that like 8 to 10 mile range. I'm just kind of throwing that out there and just trying to push myself a little bit there. I was going to say like 7 or 8 miles. And then I was like, well, 10's not that much further than 7 or 8. So why not just make it an even number, round up. So we're going for 10 miles at the end of this year, beginning of next year. So Then lifting, I'm still shooting for 5 days a week, and then 5 to 6 days a week. Saturday's an optional day, but I'll probably be lifting Saturday mornings as well. And then Sundays will be my universal rest day. So those are some new things I'm doing. When it comes to fitness, when it comes to the office, some things that I'm doing is scheduling myself 15 to 30 minute tasks throughout the day. So again, this is something new I'm doing. I've told you guys that planning is very important, that having goals for the day, having a plan of attack for the week is very important. So what I've been trying to do is actually schedule my tasks out in like 15, 20 minute, 30 minute increments. And that way I can just see like the 4, 5, 6, 7 things I got to do this morning. Now, these are like little tasks, right? Like run payroll, create 2 new emails for this week's, like our email stuff that I've been telling you guys about, right? So like Monday I had payroll, do my emails, here, let me pull it up so that way you don't feel like I'm just naming some random stuff here. Okay, so Monday, here were my couple tasks right away in the morning. I needed to get some information over to a city clerk. I need to do my MailChimp emails, which are just like the platform we use to send you guys our emails. I had to get some of our transfers fixed for our O-Town account, and then I had about a 45-minute time block for finances where I had to cut some rent checks, and I had to verify accounts had money in them, right? So like I just do general finances. I do finances almost daily just to kind of check on things. But I also have on here like my morning run. I've got my Watoma lift, and it was a push day. So from 7 to 8 was my Watoma lift push day. From 8 to 9, me and G were recording a podcast. From 9:15 to 9:30, I had a check-in call with my business partner in Oshkosh, right? So I'm doing this like little time block chunks so that way I stay on track and make sure I'm getting each individual task done. Plus, once I complete these tasks, it's like how I was telling you guys a couple weeks ago when I was working on writing tasks down and crossing them off. That gives you such a level of satisfaction that I'm doing the same thing with my Google Calendar now where I'm having the job on there and then like every little detail is going on there. So I'll make notes inside the job and I will just mentally know, wow, I've already got 7 tasks done today. And these aren't my big tasks. These are just like small things that are like office work to do. So I don't want you to overwhelm yourself. I don't want you to put like 32 tasks on here, but I'm just trying to like time manage myself and actually have a plan of attack for the day. So anyways, you guys know the importance of a plan. That's a note I had on here. You need to have a plan of attack. You need to have an idea of where you're going and why you're going there. And again, what if I've coached on this before, you guys, the one thing that I could do today, if I could do one thing today that would move the needle the most, that would make me, in a much better place that I need to be, what would that one thing be? And make sure that's like your main focus for the day. And then everything else is just kind of like can trickle in kind of around that. So, all right. So I've got the book talk. Before I do that, I know I mentioned on Tuesday, I've got another note on here. If you guys are interested in hopping in on some of those emails, I'd love you guys to join them. Like I said, I'm trying to provide a lot of value there. For those of you who didn't listen to last episode, but maybe are tuning in today, we are doing emails every Tuesday and Thursday. They're going out, I believe, in the mornings, but maybe the time will change. And those emails are just going to be value stuff, like anything that I'm learning. And like, for example, Tuesday's email was about our VO2 max and kind of coaching on that. And so anything that I'm studying, anything that I'm learning, any of the books that I'm reading, I'm going to be giving more information in the emails. So I'll be able to have some more like of the scientific background stuff in there, but also the email is going to sound like it's just me talking to you. So I'm not trying to like pretty up this email. I'm literally typing it on my Monday mornings, and it's just like a basic little email that I would send to anybody on my team. So I'm not trying to make it formal. I'm not trying to pitch you anything. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just like want to give you guys the most amount of value and give you the opportunity to like learn things. And I know not everybody has all the time in the world. That's what everybody's going to say. So if I'm going to read all these books a year, I want to be able to give you guys back the knowledge that I'm learning. So, and for those of you listening, I have already read over 50 books this year, and I intend on making a really awesome post at the end of the year on my Facebook with every book and kind of like one major takeaway. So anyways, if you're listening, you're interested in hopping in on the emails, shoot us an email, Garrett, Garrett at fitnessgrizzly.com. Shoot me a message on Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, if you have me on there, whatever you want to do. So a couple little interesting things from this book that I'm reading. It's all about, again, like the first impression we talked about on Tuesday. The goal here is like to have good communications with people. This isn't to control people. This isn't to like get what you want from everybody, but it is to like have better conversations. The goal is to in the end, get people to do what you want, but not in a bad way, to like be able to be more persuasive, to have better conversations, to get more things done, to attract more people to you, right? Like these are the powers of persuasion and good communication skills. I'm sure we all know that one person that like everybody loves. That's kind of one of the things we talk about in the book all the time, is that person that can talk to anybody. They can go up and they have a good conversation. They go up to somebody you're watching from back here, and they go up and talk to that person. They're both smiling. They're both having a good time, right? So we all know, or we should know, that a smile is very powerful, and a real authentic smile, not a forced smile. That was one of the things we talk about a lot in this book, is you go up to people and you do have a smile. You need to be authentic. You need to want to be there. But I wrote down a couple notes here, and then I've got a couple more. So the mirror effect. This is interesting. If you're standing in front of a mirror, if you smile, the person smiles back. If you frown, the person frowns back. If you shout, the person in the mirror shouts back. So this is kind of saying, obviously, that's pretty straightforward. If I'm in a mirror and I'm looking at myself, that's the same thing's happening. So the same thing happens when you're talking to an individual. If you smile, generally you're going to get a smile back. If I come off and I'm yelling at you, either you're going to yell at me back, or, that's basically what's going to happen. Your tone's going to be much greater. So they were doing these studies, and for example, I can't cite them word for word, but basically, if I were to call you and talk to you on the phone, or if I was just talking to you in person, let's just say you're sitting here at my podcast table and you're sitting across from me, and I start whispering to you about something, most oftentimes you whisper back and you don't even really know why. And then if I yell or I speak with a louder tone of voice, usually that individual will talk at that same level or slightly lower. But that's just like a natural instinct of us humans, is like we're kind of matching what's going on. So keep that in mind. Again, first impression, but if you're going to smile, you're going to get that smile back. And if you're going to have an honest and good conversation, it's a give and receive kind of, is that the word I'm looking? Yeah. Just think about that when you're having conversations with new people. So another one that I have on here was he had like an equation. It was LS/MTF. And what that means is low self-esteem makes for trouble and friction. And basically, when an individual has low self-esteem, they're kind of down on their day. Their spouse maybe made them not feel great before they left the house. You can just tell they're like a little bit more down and gloomy. If there's that low self-esteem, it's not a great time. If I'm going to have a conversation with a low self-esteem individual, I want to do my best to bring them up. If I don't, there's going to be, again, that friction and trouble. So if I'm going to go to somebody with that low self-esteem and that conversation that I'm going to try to have, there's going to be trouble and friction. I'm not going to get what I want. They're not going to be in the mood that they need to be in to like have this conversation. So one of the things they were saying was recognizing low self-esteem and either avoiding that mainly don't have that conversation at that point, that low self-esteem, if that person has low self-esteem. So it was just interesting to think about an individual with low self-esteem and trying to spot that in people. And when you can start spotting that low self-esteem, that way that they carry themselves, their shoulders rounded, maybe looking at the ground, their chest isn't up and they're not proud and confident, right? Like just spotting that low self-esteem can be a powerful tool that we can utilize. So let me pull up my other notes here real quick, and then I will let you guys go because I've got another meeting here shortly. So here's a good one. The secret to instant confidence with anyone. Treat every single person as the most important person you'll meet that day. Les, the speaker, the author, says, when you genuinely act this way, your voice, posture, and eye contact automatically change and people feel it. So again, that person who can go up to anybody and just have a great conversation, go with confidence, and treat that person like they're the most important person you've talked to all day. You're going to have a good conversation. That person's going to like you. You're going to attract more people around you. So that's a good one. Something to think about is when you have a new conversation with an individual, usually the individual you're talking to wants to know what's in it for me. So making sure that individual, like if you just go up to an individual and start talking about I, me, that person's going to lose interest. They're not really going to pay attention to what you're saying. So making sure they know what's in it for them is important. That's usually, everybody cares about themselves the most. They want to talk, every human wants to talk about themselves. they want to not brag, but they want to say what they did today and how their day went. And to be a good listener is important, but also just think about like if you're going to approach that conversation with another individual, what's in it for them. And that's not like, I'm not saying like when you go home and talk to your spouse necessarily, but everybody has, it says here, everybody's tuned in to the radio of what's in it for me, right? So just think about that. In order to have a good conversation, the individual wants to know why they're here to listen to you, right? So another good tip when it comes to this tools of persuasion, having good conversation, the yes attitude. Start every conversation agreeing or finding common ground. Once someone has said yes a few times, it's psychologically hard for them to switch to no when you ask for what you want. So this is also kind of like a sales tactic, like the yes tactic. Be careful how you use this, but basically, if anybody follows sales, the goal of the speaker, let's say on the stage or on a one-on-one, if you're buying a car, the individual wants to get you to say yes, like at least 3 times before asking you to like finalize the deal. So they can be any kind of question, right? Like, did they can be simple questions like, do I have everybody's attention in the room? Yes. Everybody answers yes. They start waving. They're all cheery. Did you guys really enjoy today's did you guys really enjoy today's speech? I hope you guys really enjoyed it. And everybody's like, yeah, it was great, right? So they can be these questions where they're obvious yes answers and they're just trying to get a yes, yes, yes. And then that's when the pitch comes. But just in general, when you're having conversations with people, start every conversation agreeing or finding common ground. That'll already build that level of trust that much higher. And then you can kind of steer the conversation in the direction you need to go. So I have a lot more to give you guys on this book. I'm very passionate about like good conversations with people, and I find it interesting. I find it interesting to understand how other humans think. And again, I think I find it the most interesting about how I talk to people, how I treat people, how I interact, and just trying to use some of those tools to be a better communicator, a better leader. I think it's so important. So I think everybody has a role in their life that they could be a better communicator. And so studying some of these persuasion tools and understanding how humans are and understanding how you are yourself, I think is very important. So I'm going to wrap up today's episode. Like I said, I don't have a ton of time, so I apologize. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my Thanksgiving story. Hopefully you guys take something away regarding persuasion tools. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Appreciate you guys.